What does Moggcoin mean to you guys?
To me, it's effortless cosmic domination. You are being dominated on a cosmic level.
Like middle of the night. Dude, it was like lightning in a bottle immediately.
Hi guys, and welcome to What's the Meta? I'm your host, Ryan S. Gladwin, and we're here with Aug, the founder and creator of Moggcoin, and Slumpt, one of the key core members. How are you guys?
It's like I woke up a couple hours ago, so I took my dog for a walk and now I'm here.
About the same on my end. Ate a little bit of toast, watched an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and now I'm here.
At the time of recording, Moggcoin is one of the top 10 meme coins by market cap. The token uses a phrase that originated from 4chan, but it since evolved into sort of a meme beyond what it started as. Really broad question to start out with. What does Moggcoin mean to you guys?
To me, it's effortless cosmic domination. That's something that Skirpo actually brought up, I think, on day one for us. We talk about this all the time, like the origins of Mog do come from 4chan, but the word itself is so much older than that. If you really get into the etymology of Mog, you can find examples from the 1800s of old English people using Mog to describe the way a cat walks. It's a very, very storied word. There's so much history just packed into this little 3-letter just word. It's crazy actually. But yeah, to me, it's just always been effortless cosmic domination.
Yeah, I really think that phrase sums it up probably the best. And I'll be honest, I didn't even, maybe some of the other guys were aware, but I was not even aware of the 4chan history or meaning until a week after launch, and all of our haters were being you guys are using the word wrong. So I don't know. I like effortless cosmic domination. I like tokenized winning. I thought that was a pretty fun little moniker. But I think that's the cool thing about Mog though is I would credit this aspect as some of our success is that it is it's kind of open-ended. Mog is what you make it rather than it's not a very hard line, defined thing, especially as how, we approach it. So I think that's been I don't know, that's been kind of cool to watch it evolve, watch it be open-ended, watch people interpret it kind of how they want.
The way that I always look at it, and what Aug said is super spot on too. I think Mog can mean really anything to anybody. That's kind of the beauty of the meme itself, is that it is so open-ended. Whatever you want Mog to mean, that's what Mog means. But for me, effortless cosmic domination is essentially just a way to approach your everyday life. I think it's just understanding that cosmically, on a level that is a little bit more difficult to explain. We've already won, essentially. It's just approaching life just with that, every single day, wake up, just win without trying. I think that would be a lot easier. Kind of just accepting that it's been chosen, Mog's path is preordained. So the things that I do in my daily life are kind of just taken care of, it's handled, and just, I guess, being cognizant of that and allowing that to be true, if that makes sense.
I do think that does, in a way, refer back to sort of the original understanding of the meaning that, like you said, it goes back to 4chan. Apparently 2016 was about the first sort of references of it, according to knowyourmeme.com. It's derived from the acronym AMOG, which stands for alpha male of the group. And to mog someone is to display your dominance over someone. And there's multiple ways you can do it. You can height mog someone, you can hair mog someone, fashion mog someone. So I guess effortless cosmic domination is sort of an evolution of that sort of dominance, but taking it into your everyday life. Am I right?
Essentially, I think that the effortless cosmic domination, whenever you talk about this very hyper specific, height mogging, hair mogging, weight mogging, whatever you want to call, those are all so specific that I think the effortless cosmic domination kind of definition is essentially just the evolution of that, like you just said. It's the next step up where every single facet, when you get mogged, you are being dominated on a cosmic level rather than just a height mogged level or a hair mogged level. It's now it's a spiritual, it's a cosmic thing where it's no, every facet of their being is being dominated. I think it is just kind of the natural evolution of the traditional 4chan, just all those really hyper specific areas, so we don't have to get into every single way that someone's being mogged.
That's why I said we kind of had a bit of a departure, because a lot of the 4chan stuff was very physicality based. It was like bodybuilders. So I don't know, being the most jacked or biggest biceps, whatever. That's I don't know, that's all well and good, but you can mog people in ways that go beyond that, just on a, on a metaphysical level or an intellectual level, whatever the case may be. And so we wanted to adapt, like, you know, kind of capture a mindset of like, not even like arrogance. It's like, not like I am arrogant that I am like cosmically dominating you. It's like, there's nothing to be arrogant about. It's like, this is just how it is. We tried to, I don't know, we lean on like a little bit of like the bodybuilder stuff just to like kind of, you know, show some love to like the roots. But I guess like within the context of Mog coin is like much more beyond just the physical dominance kind of thing.
In a way, do you think this evolution of the meme is sort of a step away from, because one of the main criticisms of mogging and the whole mog meme was that it pushes toxic masculinity and that it's this weird sort of incel culture kind of thing. Do you think that the way you guys have evolved the meme is sort of stepping away from that a little bit?
I don't know if it's necessarily stepping away, just because at the end of the day, like, that is, like it or not, that is a part of the meme, you know? But I think essentially it's just an evolution rather than a step away, at least to me. That's kind of the way that I've looked at it. Like, I think that, you know, that's not stuff that we're going to focus on. Of course, like, it's not stuff that we're going to really like talk about. But at the end of the day, like, to me, it really is just kind of taking those parts that are less pretty, less attractive, and less marketable, and turning them into something that isn't arrogant, isn't so rooted in this like inceldom. It's kind of really, it is just a natural evolution of what it means to mog, in my humble opinion. At least to me, though. Aug might have something totally different.
No, I think that's about right. Like, I mean, it's almost like this kind of feeds into just sort of how we've run the project and like tried to like shape the community a bit. Like, we've never been once like tell people like what they can and can't post, or like shame people. Like, okay, all right, so there are like, there's like, you know, there's a handful of things that we're just like, all right, come on, dude, like, don't say that. There are some lines there, right? But for the most part, like, as long as you're not as long as you're not being like a truly like awful and egregious person, just straight up like hateful and like and demeaning, like, that's what I think has been cool with Mog, and like why people like resonate with it, is that they can kind of latch on to these different aspects. So like, if they are, you know, like kind of teetering that like incel-y sort of like toxic masculine line, like, all right, that's what they identify with. As long as they're not like doing it at the expense of like some of the other community members or like some of the other people that would be interested in Mog, then that's fine, right? So we don't necessarily shy away from it. Of course, there are like certain things that we're just not gonna, like, from our project account, like, just not gonna like promote or try to like put on a pedestal or whatever. At the end of the day, like, we did, you know, we took this approach with it because we want everybody to mog, right? So if we like get to like hard line on certain things and are just like are unappealing, like with toxic masculinity, right? Like, half the world is not men, you know, half of our potential community base, right? So we kind of toe that line like a little bit, but we do want everybody to feel like they can, you know, they can identify with the culture and like with the memes and all that stuff. So we try to keep it pretty broad strokes.
That's a good point, actually, because if you were to embrace that toxic masculinity element like a little too much, you would push away all sort of women from investing. And there are some communities in the crypto space, like Milady comes to mind, that are like a lot of women are in that space, whereas something like Mogcoin could very much be the opposite. Do you have women community members that are moggers?
Yeah, a surprising number, really. Like,
some of our like biggest holders and like earliest like large content creators, they were women, and I think that they like identified, they liked it because it wasn't all about just being like a 6'5", 250-pound like bodybuilder dude, right? Like, there's no cute girls in like Web3 identifying with that with that like aesthetic and lifestyle, right? So I think it's, you know, it's been, I don't know, it's been cool. And you know, that was something that like we got some criticism from people early on for like not trying to like gatekeep hard enough. Like you mentioned Milady, right? They've got a very tight-knit community, right? That's an NFT collection and community, and like that's like its own kind of culture thing. They've done a great job like creating that and crafting that, and they have a reputation for kind of that gatekeepiness, or at least at one point they did. I don't think it's as bad anymore, but like we never really wanted to do that, right? Because like we're not like Mog is not a 10,000 piece NFT collection. Mog is a meme coin community, culture coin, right? So like our longer term goal is for everyone to Mog, not for 10,000 people to Mog. You know, we didn't want to be gatekeeping and stuff. We wanted to have like a loosely defined culture, and like everybody, you know, a lot of people can feel like welcome or interested and feel like they can contribute and be a part of it.
You mentioned that you weren't on those 4chan boards when Mog first sort of came about on the internet. When did you guys first hear about mogging, and when did you decide that this was like a thing in your life?
Aug and I have been in a group chat together with a bunch of other Miladies actually since, I guess, what, like end of 2022? Is that about right?
Yeah, about like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. We talked about launching Mog for like probably 6 months before it actually launched. Like, and I know, like, at this point, I don't know who was the quote unquote first person to bring it up. Like, I have no idea which one of us in this group chat even like said it, but it was just all of us. Like, it was a running joke. We would be like, hey, launching Mog right now. It's on Binance Smart Chain. Go, go, go. Just like basically trying to trick each other, like sending fake contract addresses, just constantly messing around with the concept of launching Mog. And I think all of us kind of knew that eventually it would happen. But yeah, it was a running joke for nearly half a year before Aug actually like tapped us and was like, hey, let's really do this. Like, we've been joking about it long enough, you know, like it's time to really make this happen.
Yeah, we just like use the word a lot, like in like colloquially, like in this group chat, like to describe something like instead of saying something was like, I don't know, badass or cool, you'd be like, that mogs. And so like we would use it a lot in like that sense. And then April, March, whatever, whenever Pepe came out, like there was all that stuff last year, there was that like whole meta of everyone, you know, started launching meme coins. And so it was like every time you turn around, there's like a ticker being shilled in the group chat or on the TL and all that stuff. And that's how the When Mog thing started. I don't know, man. You kind of just observe like all these coins like launch and you're just like, you see the way the teams go about it. Like, I don't think half these people were like serious or trying to like make a quick buck. You can kind of like observe some of the good things that they do and the bad things that they do and things like that. And so myself and my co-founder, we took some of that, like those observations, and we were like, dude, we could run something well. You know, there's no guarantee that it really catches on and gets huge, but at the very least, like we can do something in such a way that like we know that we're not like scammers or like grifty people and stuff. We have like connections that like Slumpt and like the other guys that were on the original core team. We have competent people in our like orbit that we can tap on to like really put something cool together and like successful. And so just decided to like run with it one day, like middle of the night. Dude, it was like lightning in a bottle immediately.
What happened when you first launched the meme coin? Because like I'd be scared. I don't know if you guys have ever thrown a party, but the biggest fear for me when I've thrown parties before is that no one's going to turn up. And like I feel like it'd be the same feeling when you launch a meme coin that you've been hyping for however long you've been hyping in your chat. Like, we're going to launch this token, we're going to launch this token. Then you finally do. What was it like? How did it feel? Did people turn up?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, man. Like, I think, like some mentioned, like we're in this Milady group chat, right? Like we've been in that community for like a long time, and so I think we had like a good network through those channels. So like when we posted about it, like this was like, you know, at a time when people are like antsy to kind of like ape into contracts or whatever and all this stuff. So we posted about it, and like we all had pretty good followings, pretty decent like reputations as like traders or just like as decent people. So I wasn't all that concerned about like not a lot of people showing up. I was like more concerned about like, how do we get this infrastructure in place? Like the website, Telegram, Twitter page, like all that stuff. There's like all this administrative stuff that we just didn't really like plan for and do. So many people like bought the token or like joined the Telegram and started hitting us up like in the first, I don't know, man, like 6 hours, dude. We didn't even have a website until I went to sleep and like woke up the next day and like had to made this terrible website like on Google sites, dude. I've never made a website in my life. Honestly, man, it looked like a PowerPoint presentation from like a middle schooler. It was terrible. It's kind of what you got to do. It was all very ad hoc. We were more overwhelmed by like the immediate interest than like anything else.
At what point did the meme start to evolve? Because we've now got Joycat, who's like a character that sort of symbolizes the meme. And now we're getting to effortless cosmic domination. So like we've gone levels since the original Mog meme. When did that evolution start?
Early on, it was like the first thing. I think that effortless cosmic domination was probably like, that was super early. That was like day 1, day 2 for us. But the Joycat really came kind of just out of like necessity more than anything, because on the very first day, we were kind of all in the group chat, just like throwing ideas at each other. And someone was like, Hunter Biden with pit vipers on. Hunter Biden, like that was just one of the first ideas that someone threw. Like, and as soon as they sent that picture in the chat, it stuck, and it was so funny. But then as we kind of started to mature, and as the project got like a little bit more serious, and as we like our roots spread, we kind of came to a point where it was like, all right, well, let's do a little bit. Let's like turn it into something that we can like use for exchange. Just not Hunter Biden smoking a cig with pit vipers on, you know? Yeah. And we had been using the emojis, the point laugh emojis with the Joycat, like we had been using those for a long time. So it was kind of just the natural progression, really. It was like, all right, well, let's just, let's stick with the Joycat. Like it works. That's like such a good just point and laugh. Like just like I win, it's just a perfect combination. It really just kind of fit the ethos that we had already built out. So it just kind of made sense in our minds.
Probably like 2 or 3 weeks in, that was when like the conversations about like changing up like the branding a little bit got like real serious. We kind of saw the trajectory that we could go on if we, made the right decisions. We were really fortunate. We had like a lot of cool like content creators, like some bigger names that were that had bought Mog like very early, and one of those guys being Mike 3, but he was a huge help early on, especially because he made some really dope memes for us. I mean, we're over here using like Microsoft Paint, like typing stuff onto like images and crap, and he's like got like a full like iPad studio thing going, but he ended up like offering to make our logo for us and like did like a whole like a real polished sort of design and everything.
It's one of the things that charms me about the meme coin space is that at least when they start out, all meme coins are they're made by degenerates 99% of the time. They're never made by professionals looking to make the best coin in the world. And the website's always shit, like you said. The graphics are always bad. People aren't organized. At what point, because at least from the outside looking in, correct me if I'm wrong, nowadays it feels like a professional organization. It feels like you're moving in a way that's intentional and graphics are clean and you're wearing a Mog jumper right now. Like at
Bro,
what point
look
did
at
it
this.
feel
How dope is this?
It's so cool.
This is crazy.
When did it get professional is sort of my question.
So we did that rebrand, and I would say like probably like September, like October, like really like it was starting before then. I mean, we kind of early on decided like, all right, like what are our strengths and like weaknesses, like as just like professional like operators, right? Like as people on a team, and we started trying to like delineate some roles to kind of like match those strengths and like match availabilities and whatnot. And so we did that early on, and then I would say like as the rebrand progressed, so we had the new logo, we started to get like more serious about like Twitter content and like rolling that out on a regular basis, just kind of paying up and ponying up for like higher quality like video content stuff, paying for like more dedicated content creators to support our Twitter efforts, like things like that. And these were all people like fortunately like in the community that we were able to like tap on to kind of give some more serious roles. But then I would say like maybe like at the very beginning of this year, like end of last year, we had that like the whole like ETH sort of like market, went like super quiet in the fall, like late fall last year, early winter. And that was just like a big focus on like Solana stuff. So that gave us like a good opportunity to reshuffle things and really be like, all right, like what are our like plans going into next year to like really approach this, kind of hit the ground running and be like really well positioned for when attention does come back to Ethereum. And so I would say it was like around then we brought on Mike to help us with the website redesign and like really help us put together like some more like cohesive like graphics and stuff. Like when we talk to like exchanges or talk to institutions or whomever, like they like to see like a nice polished kind of like cohesive, aesthetically cohesive package that we can send them. I would say that we operate very much so like in a close like what a professional team like would operate as, but we are all still just like a bunch of unemployed dudes just hanging out. So like it's it can be a little bit like herding cats at times, but we get it done, dude. And we all take this very seriously. Like, and so I think that's like one difference that we have fun with it, but like we do treat this like it's a real business and like a real brand and job. So most of us have like pretty extensive like professional history. Like, so I think we've been able to bring some of that to it.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask is how has this affected your personal life? Like, I'm sure when you released that token, you probably had a job and you were sort of living life normally. And now a year later, you're now in charge of something that's worth $600 million. like that's more money than like some countries, man. Like how has that affected your life?
So I used to work in like TradFi. I worked at a big bank here in the US as like a commercial lender. And then I quit my job at the Pico Schmico top of last cycle and then like lost like 80%, 90% of my net worth in like Luna and just like some other, you do just how it goes, right? Like I remember calling my boss and being like, hello, sorry, I'm super rich now, so goodbye. I'm not coming into work anymore. See you later.
Is that how you said it?
It wasn't quite that bad, but it was like, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and resign. And I remember my like RP called me. He's like, "Is this like a money thing? You need to, you want to like raise? How can we keep you on board?" And I was like, "Dude, there's nothing you can say to me to keep me at this job." Anyway, 6 months later, I like needed a job again. So I ended up working at Silvergate for a bit, and then Silvergate collapsed. So I actually did not have a job. I had like I'd done like well enough like in the trenches, like early 2023, that like I was able to kind of like stave off needing a job for at least like a couple of years at that point. The impact, I guess, for me was like trying to manage like that work-life balance, right? This is a 24/7 industry. This is like a, you know, and there was a point in time where I was the one that was like, I was like solely on the Twitter. So like trying to maintain relevancy and like be active on there and deal with like some of the administrative stuff and blah, blah, blah. Like it can be, you know, it's like at all hours of the day, man. So that was the harder part for me, was like figuring out that balance in a way that, you know, like so that it wouldn't like negatively impact my relationship with my girlfriend or like relationship with my family, my health, all that stuff. I think we've had a good balance for a while now.
I think for me, it was pretty similar. Like at the very beginning, there wasn't really anybody else doing the spaces like towards the very beginning. And that was like a daily thing for a few months, really. So it really similar to Aug, where it, like I wasn't having to do the actual Twitter stuff, but just the kind of coping with doing like hour plus Twitter spaces every day for a considerable amount of time, in addition to just being like a normal functioning guy. That was like pretty difficult to do. But I think one thing that like, I don't know, helped me was like I had a goal, and that was kind of like, all right, there will become a time where me doing these spaces every day like won't be needed, because the community will be so self-sufficient. There will be so many other people doing the same thing that it just won't be necessary. And I think having that goal in mind, and I know it's a little bit different with running the Twitter, but getting to a spot where there are other people kind of serving the same purpose is obviously the goal. And to me, that was kind of like just having that like thing to look forward to really made it easy to keep going, I guess. Like just having something, a goal to focus on.
Those spaces were critical in terms, like, because this was like at a time when we had just come off of our like the first pump in like August, and we were, you know, like the price was down like 95%, something crazy, and like and so, you know, it was really like slumping those spaces that like I firmly believe facilitated like a ton of cohesion in the community. The fun for me, they were like just a good outlet. I don't know, we never talked about like price or anything like that. We like in those spaces, it was like purely just like kind of like building human connections, just like talking about life, talking about like what you're interested in, things like that. And so I think that like really went a long way, especially in that period, to like solidify some of those relationships that we have with like the early supporters and everything.
It's an interesting point you both raised that I think maybe isn't spoken enough about in the space, is that work-life balance sort of thing. Even as a writer, I can't really switch off from this space. I finish work and my Twitter is still crypto Twitter, and I'm still interested and I still care about everything that's going on. And then even like in the trenches, like people say work for your bags, and people working for their bags 24/7. When that is its worst is when you're down 95%, like you just mentioned. Like, how do you deal with that? As an investor, it's hard, but as like the creator and like a team member building this, I can imagine that's like particularly hard.
So for the spaces in particular, like just showing up every day and talking to people when I think there was one month where it was like we had 40 days of red candles or something. It was like,
yeah, dude.
It was exhausting. It was like I was getting up to do the spaces, and I was just like, dude, I want to kill myself. Like this, it wasn't fun. I'll be totally honest. It's not fun. But realistically, like this might be due to some of the stuff that Charlotte's written in the past. But just like I have a firm belief that if you like post it, and if you just like post through it, basically, if you build it, they will come. Like I knew that Aug wasn't going anywhere. I knew that no one else on the team was going anywhere. I knew that Mog would happen. I knew that like, because it wasn't like it was just Mog. It was like the rest of the market took like a massive departure from what I wanted, you know? So it really was just a matter of acknowledging the fact that it wasn't just Mog. Like we're still in a fine position. The price may be bad, but ultimately like there's still people showing up for spaces every day. Everyone is still here doing the damn thing. So I think to me, it was really just like trying to acknowledge the fact that like I can just post through it. Like if I just show up and I keep doing it, if I can basically post it into existence. And if there's enough people posting it into existence, then like the price always catches up to that social capital in my mind. So it really was just a matter of like, all right, like everyone is still here. The thesis hasn't changed. Like Mog is still Mog, basically, for me at least. That's because like it definitely wasn't easy. I like it like wasn't very fun. You know, like it kind of sucked.
As an investor, like you're in something, it's down 95%, and you're like, oh my god, my bag. But yeah, for you, Aug, like this is your baby. You created this. This is all yours. Like, what did that feel like?
Slumpt hit the nail on the head, man. It kind of sucked. It was like so I don't know. I kind of came to the point where I like he also said, it wasn't just like Mog, and so I was stressed out about it like quite a lot. Like early on, you kind of have to like force yourself into this Zen state of like, I just have to keep showing up and doing what I said I would do, which is like continue to post, continue to be part of the community, continue to like, just like, frankly, just continue to be a part of the team and not like quit, right? Just so keep just showing up. You kind of have to come to realize that like there are very few things that like you as an individual or like as a team can do to like, it's not like me like making like a one banger meme is going to like turn around the entire market for like the Ethereum ecosystem. Sometimes you just can't like fight the tides in that sense. So what you do is you kind of like take the steps necessary to like stay afloat and position yourself better for like when the wave does come back.
I mean, for the past 3 months or so, it feels like you've only been in the green. We're wrapping up here, so I've just got one last question. We've kind of gone through the whole timeline from its origins and 4chan to when the meme coin was created and how it's evolved. Why does it work? Why does Mog work? Why does Mog coin work? Why does the community work? What is it at its core that's pushing this forward?
Well, we might have like slightly different answers to this, but I think about this like a lot, right? Like what is it that like makes like some tokens of the community succeed like while others don't? And I was actually just talking to a guy about this like yesterday. So I think like I mentioned, like a big benefit that we've had, a big advantage we've had in our corner is that Mog is like sort of open-ended, right? It's like we didn't say this is what Mog is, you know, this is to Mog, you have to do X and you cannot do Y. Like it's all just kind of like very open-ended. So I think that creates like a big pool of like, you know, a lot of people can feel like they, you know, it resonates with them. The other piece is that like it's not a super topical thing. So I think there's a lot of meme coins and projects that a flash in the pan because they are like event driven or like very topical. When those events are out of the news cycle, like who cares anymore, right? It doesn't matter. Like, and you can be like a wonderful, like great operator. At the end of the day, the game is attention and like maintaining relevancy. With us like not being topical and like being fairly open-ended, it allows us to like be very flexible and adaptable as to like what is in terms of just kind of like fitting like what the current zeitgeist is, like what's interesting to people right now, and like weaving those lines without having to like shed our core branding or identity and stuff like that. But most importantly, we went through those like 40 days of red candles, man. Like we went through a crucible. And I would say all of us just like kept showing up. This is really more of a credit to like our community in a lot of ways. Like at least like me being on the team, like I know that like I'm not going to rug and I know that my team isn't going to rug, but like someone who's an investor, I guess, or a buyer, like they can just like hope and they can like, but they don't know me. So like I can say that like, yeah, we're going to stick around, but like they have to kind of have that faith too. We've got this like core group in our Mog Trillionaires chat that's like been around through like the darkest days, and they're still around like in these like very, very bright and sunny days. And I think that's just been like so huge, man. We have these like real like zealot might be like kind of a strong word or like maybe incorrect, but like, I mean, these people like really believe in like, not even like just what we've built, but like what they've been building too, and like what they've been contributing to. And so that's just gone such a long way for us.
To me, as an outsider, I think one of the things that really help you is that you have like an emoji combination that is so linked to you guys, and it's just such a great emoji combination that I'd never seen before, and it's just brilliant. I love it so much. I also think the pit vipers as well are so sick. Like people wearing pit vipers now feels like an endorsement of Mog.
Dude, it's because the intern won't DM me back. We're done talking about
pit vipers. Yeah. Dude, actually, no, that's something that we didn't even mention was like the pit vipers thing was huge, and that was something that was like suggested to us super early on. Like that's actually been such a huge aspect. I don't know how that didn't come up, but that's been a huge piece of our success is those pit viper sunglasses like on the PFPs. We've got like a neutral bordering good relationship with them right now.
Well, we sent them the pizza, like, yeah, we sent them, God, nearly like, I think 62 pizzas, like full pizzas. Like so everyone in the community everyone was sending pizzas to the Pit Viper. If you go back on their Twitter, you can see the Pit Viper intern. She's like posting pictures of like an obscene number of pizza boxes, like all over the office. And yeah, just a hilarious number of pizza boxes. Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of a very good start to the relationship. Like at this point, they have not tried to get us to do anything. They've just kind of been like happily like, no, the Mog guys, like.
And hopefully we can do like some kind of collab with them in the future. I would love to see like,
Yeah.
we've done some like mock-ups for like some Mog branded, Mog themed Pit Vipers. So hopefully we can get something like that, like, working in the future. But, I also understand like I think, if we keep doing what we're doing, we keep being like honest actors, right? Like in the sense of like not just trying to like step on their toes or like sell knockoffs or, whatever, or just be like bad people, then I think that opportunity does come through eventually.
I hope so. Fingers crossed for you guys. I want to see those mock Pit Vipers. That'd be too funny. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. It's been a great chat.
Thank you for having us, man. This has been fun.
Yeah, dude, our pleasure. Thanks for having us, man.